What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel. Special guest joining us today, Matt Borelli. If you've been reading Dodger Blue, you will recognize the name because Matt's been writing for us for about 10 years. But first time appearance on the show. Matt, love that you're here, ready to talk some Dodgers baseball.
Glad to be here, and I'm excited to talk about last night's win.
Yes. Last night, the Dodgers win their sixth in a row. They beat the Marlins 8-2. Some offensive firepower from the Dodgers, a great pitching performance from Yamamoto that we're going to get to. But on the offensive side, we get a home run from Gavin Lux, a home run from Max Muncy. What stood out to you about last night's game, Matt, their ability to beat the Marlins for the second time in a row?
What stands out to me is how they continue getting it done with the long ball. They've now hit 15 home runs in the last 5 games. They lead the NL with 53 homers, and Max Muncy in particular has been on fire lately with 4 home runs in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
And he set the tone early with that first inning grand slam. And yeah, I wanted to give a special shout out to Gavin Lux as well for hitting his first of the year. He's had a trying season, obviously, so it must have felt good for him to finally get on the board.
Yeah, I'm with you on Lux. Like, this is just a guy that I see the mental things that he is like working through at the plate. We've seen him bounce back and become a great defensive player at second base. For him to get that home run is awesome. But you mentioned Muncy, 4 home runs in his last 9 at bats. His slugging percentage has gone up 120 points. But we got asked on our show last night. Somebody was like, "Hey, are the Dodgers becoming too reliant on the home run ball?" And I was like, it's an interesting question. I went and looked at some of the same numbers you just mentioned. The Dodgers are second in the Major League Baseball in home runs, but they're also second in doubles and first in hits. So yes, the Dodgers hit a lot of home runs. They also lead the league in hits, and they're also second in doubles. So it's not like the Dodgers only hit home runs. They're also up there in walks as well. The Dodgers just do everything well. And so their ability to continue scoring with or without the home run ball, I think, is something that we can count on. But the other piece of this game and the kind of the thing I wanted to pull out from just last night's game and talk more big picture is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This is a guy that in his last 7 starts has a 1.76 ERA. This is post-Korea. He has 45 strikeouts to just 7 walks over that stretch. I'm curious for you, Matt, when you think about Yamamoto and kind of the pitcher that, aside from that 1-inning disaster in South Korea, what he's become over the last 7 starts, what's the piece of him as a pitcher that maybe you've come to appreciate most?
Just being able to adjust as quickly as he has since coming to MLB. And we saw that last night. He allowed the first pitch home run to Jazz Chisholm Jr., and he bounced back with his longest outing by far as a big leaguer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that like in his last, I think it's 4 straight starts that he's now gone 6 or more innings. And for him to be able to give the Dodgers bullpen that length, we know how much they've struggled. And I joked on the postgame show last night, like the best way to help a bullpen that isn't supremely talented is to at least let them be a rested but not super talented bullpen. If it's an exhausted, not super talented bullpen, that's a bad combination. The fact that Glasnow and Yamamoto have both been able to give some length, even Gavin Stone, who we're going to talk about in a minute, I believe has gone 6 and 7 innings in his last 2 outings. And so I think that's the thing about Yamamoto that I love. He's a strike thrower. This guy throws so many strikes, and Matt, that was on display last night in maybe one of the more remarkable sort of performances that we've seen.
Yeah, he started the game with 19 consecutive strikes, the first ever Dodger to do that since pitch tracking data began in 2000.
It's crazy.
Truly a remarkable feat.
Yeah, I mean, 19 straight strikes. Obviously, one of those was hit for a home run. A bunch of them were put into play or fouled off, but that's his game, right? Is he's a command pitcher, and that's part of why he's able to go deep. Even through 8 innings, I believe he didn't even get to 100 pitches. I think he was at 97, but 70 of them were for strikes. And so that's why he's able to give them length, because he fills up the strike zone. And, even after that first pitch mistake to Chisholm, he goes back to the fastball and he started locating it better and better and better as the game went on, was able to keep, an offense from the Marlins that isn't very good, but was able to keep them off balance. So I've loved to see this from Yamamoto. The first start, throw it out. It's clearly the anomaly in the 8 times that we've gotten to see him. 4 of his last 7 starts have been scoreless affairs. Again, last night, 8 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, no walks, 5 strikeouts. So great stuff from Yamamoto there. As far as today's game, and it is a day game, 12:10 Pacific, Gavin Stone on the mound versus Ryan Weathers for the Marlins. Matt, Gavin Stone's been pretty good. I mentioned his last couple of starts, especially. Do you think he can keep up that recent hot streak against pathetic maybe feels like a strong word, a not super talented Marlins lineup?
I think he has a good shot of keeping that hot streak going. He's allowed 2 runs or fewer in 4 straight outings. He's thrown at least 6 innings in 3 of those. And if the Dodgers can get that out of him this afternoon, I think they'd be very happy.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the bets. Dodgers, once again, massive favorites. Like, we're talking like minus 250, minus 300 range on the money line, which makes sense. Weathers, former Padre, has actually been all right. But looking at some of my favorite bets from this one, which, by the way, Daniel and I gave out Yamamoto under 1.5 earned runs yesterday is like a fun little play. And man, that was a tough one to lose right at the end. He gives up the first pitch home run. You're like, this is going to be a long sweat to see if he can give up no runs the rest. But my picks today are both Gavin Stone related. The first one, minus 130 odds, so not great, but over 15.5 outs. You mentioned he's given them length. So if he gets to 5 1/3 innings, he gashes the over on that. Against a Marlins team that isn't very good, I could see that happening. And if you want to go that direction, maybe even more so, Gavin Stone to record a win is plus 160. So, of course, there's a lot of factors there, but the Dodgers money line being almost minus 300, if Stone goes 5 and the Dodgers have the lead in the first 5 innings, he'd be in line for the win. You could get plus 160 on that. So a couple bets that I like, something to think about if you're in a place where you're allowed to place those kind of bets. But Dodgers going for the sweep, going for their 7th straight victory today, going for their 14th win in their last 16, again, against a Marlins team that the expectation is, regardless of who's in the lineup today for the Dodgers, that they would beat. So thanks everybody for joining us here on Dodger Heads Daily. Again, my name is Jeff Spiegel. That is Matt Borelli. You can check out his stuff and a bunch of our other writers' stuff over at DodgerBlue.com. Of course, if you're new here, subscribe, ring the notification bell below. And if you're a podcast person, Apple, Spotify, Google, search for the Dodger Heads podcast. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. As always, go Dodgers.